Hey winners, Kevin Ward here at YesMasters.com. I had a great question asked to me today that I've had asked to me quite often in the last few months, especially with the way in a lot of your markets the inventory is very low and sellers are looking at selling. And here's the question. I want to sell my house, but I'm not going to list it. And so I want to see if I wanted to let you know that if you'll bring a buyer, I'll pay you 3% or whatever the commission is. I'll pay you. I don't want to list it. I just want, because I've had all these agents, I'm getting these postcards and these phone calls from agents saying, hey, we have buyers. So I'm not going to list it, but if you want to bring a buyer, I'll pay you 3%. Now it's kind of like a for sale by owner who doesn't want to put their house on the market, or that doesn't want to list their house, but they're saying, hey, bring me a buyer and so forth. So the question then is, how do you handle it when they're not saying I'm going to for sale by owner it, I'm just willing to sell it, and if you guys will bring a buyer, and then and here's the funny thing, they want you to then tell your office about it, so tell everybody in your office about it, so that any of them can bring a buyer, and I'll pay a 3% commission or whatever to the agent that brings the buyer. So, and they're saying, will you go for that? Do you think your office will go for that? And so forth. And they're really asking it as an honest question because they're getting these letters or these postcards or these phone calls or these people knocking on their door, agents who are saying, hey, I've got a potential buyer. We have buyers in your area, in your neighborhood, and are you interested in selling? So they're just looking at it as, hey, as a great opportunity because there's so low inventory, there's so much demand. Maybe I can sell it and do it with a reduced commission and so forth. So the question is, what do I do about that? So here's the answer. Very simple question is saying, it's a great question. Let me ask you this. Are you interested in selling the property quickly, or if you do sell it, are you looking at getting the most money possible in your pocket? Now, what is the answer of 99% of sellers going to be? Well, obviously, I want as much money as possible in my pocket. Great, because that's why you'd like to pay a lower commission, correct? Great. So if there was a way to net more money in your pocket by working with me, would you be open to hiring me to get you the most money in your pocket possible? And of course, what's the answer going to be? Well, the answer is going to be obviously yes. Now, at that point, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set a listing appointment. Okay, and then I'm going to pre-qualify them. Because here's the issue. What's their motivation? Do they really want to sell the house? Because see, if they want to sell their house in a low inventory market and they're willing to take top dollar for it, which is what the most money that any qualified buyer would pay for it, they're going to make a move because guess what? It is going to sell. So the question is, do you really want to sell your house? Now, if you just start out asking it that way, they're going to say, well, of course I want to sell it. So I start out by qualifying them and saying, so let me ask you a question. If we could get your property sold and bring you a buyer and get it sold, are you looking to sell it in the way that's most convenient, or would you want to put the most money possible in your pocket? Well, I want to put the most money possible in my pocket. Great. Then absolutely we can work something out. We'll find a way that works. Let's set up a time to get together and meet. Now, again, now you're going to pre-qualify. You get the appointment. Now you're going to pre-qualify the appointment for motivation. Why are they selling? Where are they going? What's the plan here? Because I want to find out, are they legitimately going to sell their property? Is there a motivation to sell it, or are they just looking to waste your time? And then here's the reality. When you set a listing appointment with them, get the appointment, get a qualified listing appointment. Now, whatever it is, just sit down and we're going to talk about the way to get your property sold for top dollar in the best amount of time with the least amount of hassle, because that's what you want, right? Now, here's the reality. This goes back to the same motivation behind why pocket listings typically are not in the best interest of the seller. What is the best way to get a seller the most money in their pocket? And here's the answer. By giving it maximum exposure to all of the qualified buyers in the market, right? Because what gives any commodity, any asset, any product highest value? By maximum exposure to an open market. So that's what you're doing with listings. So you've got a home for sale. Well, I just want to pay you 3% if you bring me a buyer. Well, great. I've got one buyer. I've got 5 buyers. Whatever any particular agent happens to have. Number one, what are the odds that your buyer and that one house are going to match up? Okay? And number two, what are the odds that that particular buyer is the buyer in the market right now when you have multiple buyers out there looking that would pay the most money for this guy's house? So what I want to do is then set the listing appointment, and in the listing appointment, I'm going to show to the sellers that let me represent your best interest to maximize the value of your property. I can do that, number one, by giving maximum exposure to you, to all the qualified buyers in the market. And number two, I'm on your side rather than being on my buyer's side. Because when a agent brings a buyer, they by law represent the buyer. This guy's not wanting representation. You just bring me a buyer, I'll pay you 3%. So you actually have an agent now that's working against you because they're representing the buyer's best interest, which means to get the property done for the lowest price possible. Why not hire an agent that knows how to give your property maximum exposure, get the most qualified buyers out there writing offers on your property, so I can now negotiate for you, Mr. Seller, and help you get the best offer that will net you the most money in your pocket possible. And here's the reality. You're going to net more money in your pocket by doing that. Even though you're going to be paying the full service commission of 6%, you're going to be paying both sides, or whatever your commission is, they're going to be paying both sides, yes, but they're going to get a higher price with the best buyer, and they're going to net more money in their pocket. It's going to work faster, better, smoother, easier, and that's the service, the value you provide as a professional real estate agent. Now, if you don't know what to do once you get that listing appointment, I have a great plan for you. Sign up for my coaching, and I can definitely teach you what to say and how to say it that will help you get that listing and make that work. But in this market, don't go into this thing of, well, if I bring a buyer, will you pay me 3%? Because all you're doing is teaching sellers that, one, you don't have any value other than bringing buyers. And as listing agents, you have huge value if you just learn how to maximize that and how to communicate that to sellers in a way that they will get it, understand it, they'll hire you, they'll list with you, you'll help them get top dollar for their home, and they get a move, and you get paid. Win. What a great way to live. So get out there, engage opportunity, embrace life, expect a yes, and always play to win.